And then we see in Hebrews chapter 1, starting with verse 1, Elohim, having of old spoken in many portions and in many ways to the fathers by the prophets. So that's how he spoke to the fathers in times past by the prophets. Look at verse 2. Has in these last days, the last days after the resurrection of Yeshua, the outpouring of the Spirit, has in these last days spoken to us by the Son. So Yeshua is the one who has the words of Yah in his mouth. He is speaking all the words that Yah has commanded him, and anyone who will not listen to Yeshua will be judged. It says there in the book of Acts, utterly destroyed from among the people. All right. So if we think about Yeshua being the prophet, we're going to show here in just a moment he's also the king. He's also our high priest, and he's also our judge. From the beginning of this message, we've talked about the fact that the Torah was the foundation for the authority of all those offices. That the judge was to operate within the context of right ruling and righteousness. Well, you don't know what right ruling is, and you don't know what righteousness is unless you have and study and obey the Torah. So the Torah is the foundation for right ruling and righteousness. If you don't have the Torah, you don't have right ruling and righteousness. And then the priest was to teach the Torah to those who came before him for judgment. He was to make judgment out of the Torah. He was to reveal the Torah. So you can't take that away from the priest. That's his responsibility, to teach the Torah, to make judgment according to the Torah. The sovereign, as we've said many times now, was to make a copy of the Torah in his own hand in a book, and he was supposed to read it every day so that he could rule the people in a righteous way according to the Torah. Then we read that Yah said he was going to raise up a prophet from the midst of the brothers, and he was going to put his word in his mouth. What do you think his word is? It's his Torah. Yeshua did not come to speak some new word. He's the living Torah. He is the word in the flesh. He came to actually call people back to the written Torah, because religion had gotten so far out there with all their made up religious rules, the takanot and the ma'asim, the made up laws and regulations. And Yeshua spoke against those things. Heavy burdens, hard to bear. You're making it hard for people. Let's get back to the written Torah, because the Torah itself, the written Torah says the Torah is not too hard to do.